Hey guys, Sam and Alex here from Top Tennis Training, and in this video we're going to talk about what it was like for Alex to train and practice with Roger Federer, possibly the greatest of all time. So firstly, at the start, were you quite nervous?
Yeah,
before the hit?
Yeah, Simon saw like when we arrived a little bit early, obviously to get our warm-ups in a little bit. So when I was hitting, I wanted to be warm. I wanted to be ready to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, during that time, I kind of it felt it was like this kind of feeling of anticipation, like we were getting ready. So we knew that Roger's going to come on the court. We were kind of like almost waiting for him to walk in, and we're both trying to hit, and I'm almost trying to feel both of my shots as well as I can, and imagining what it'd be like. So I'm
pace the shot.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to kind of recreate that and make sure that I'm consistent and I'm hitting a good pace.
So at the start, what was it like when you started just the warm-up? Like, what was his ball like?
Yeah, just something that I noticed actually is he, on the first few shots of the warm-up, as we just like starting the rallies, he really like let go on a few shots and made them like really kind of spinny. It almost felt like a little bit like a not like Nadal, like he just
like crazy spin.
Yeah, but it wasn't like he was going for crazy spin, but I think he was going more for that relaxed wrist, so that relaxed wrist where he just let it go. And I think that kind of almost goes with how he plays, because it sets him up for the way he will then hit on the base.
Really loose the whole time.
Yeah, it was just kind of easy balls at the beginning, but that sets up the scene for how he's going to hit when we do start hitting harder, to just keep that relaxed feeling in the wrist. And once he had that, like he found it on the first 5-6 shots, once he was putting in the power, it was already there.
Crazy kick.
Well, I think a lot of the times, even maybe myself, I've been quite guilty of it. Is you turn up and you start, you're focused and you're intense, but you haven't got that looseness in the arm and that body relaxation. And I think he really had that, especially at the start, and it carried on through the training.
And as it picked on, as it got more intense and deeper into the session, what did you feel? Like, what was the way the shot like, the spin?
Yeah, I felt like, I practiced with a few of the guys during the week, and like Berdych and Nishikori, and the difference, I really felt like he had a bit more weight on the shot, so the ball was coming through just a little bit faster. Like, with the other guys, I was almost ready to, I was prepared, I felt in a good rhythm, whereas with him it just came that little bit faster, where I had to be a little bit sharper
on top.
And if I wasn't quite on it, I was give him a short one, I'd hit it late and he'd kill the next one. So it really, I had to focus double as hard on every shot. And something that I noticed is maybe you don't feel it, but you don't see it, but actually the spin
levels, that's what I was going to ask you
because the ball was actually rising quite a lot off his shots. It was fast, but it was actually kicking off the court as well. So the court was giving him some extra power, and maybe that's why I felt even more rushed. Because obviously
the weight and the spin combination
combined. Where some guys, they go for a lot
flatter
of spin,
shot,
or some guys go for the flatter shot, and they're both once you know what's happening, you get used to it. But with him, it was both in one, and that really
makes a deadly combo.
Yeah, it was really
What
tough.
about the variation between his spin, like the spinny forehand, and the flat forehand? Because that was something that I noticed from sitting down. The difference on the height of the ball. When he goes for the spin, it's almost like 3-4 feet over the net. Then he goes for the flat ball, it's only a couple of inches. And it's a huge difference looking from the side. What did you feel when you were hitting?
Definitely when he injected that pace and he went for the flat one, it was like, it almost felt to me like, how does someone deal with it? How does someone like Djokovic
actually block it
and get back into it? Like, because it was like, it felt unplayable almost. Like when he did that, I was like, wow, how do these guys deal with it? How does anyone beat him? And that's what it felt like. If you can do that, obviously, maybe in a match, when there's nerves, you get a bit tighter. But there was definitely that quality of shot where he, when he really went for it, it was a really tough shot to deal with. And there's something that I noticed as well, is the quality of shot just in general. Like when we were rallying trading down the middle, it was every ball was rising to me. I never really felt like
there was a short ball.
Like I'm taking balls. I think there was like one ball that I came in and I hit it.
Stepped in on.
But like the others were
always rising through the baseline.
Yeah, you know, and I think that maybe the training he was really trying to push himself and trying to
that
get
was
ready.
Intense,
it was a really intense session, and it was a pleasure to do it really.
Yeah. And what about his slice backhand? Like from the side, when he sliced it, I really noticed how low it stayed.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it stays low and it doesn't bounce up. Like it stays low over the net.
And you handled it well.
Yeah,
I have to say. Like,
I mean,
from the side.
Generally, I think my slice is okay.
Yeah.
You know, I can hit it, and we had some unbelievable slices.
I remember 6 or 7 balls cross court.
So that felt great. You know, at one point I looked over at you and I was like,
I'm dealing with Fed slice. That was good. And what about the serve? Talk about his kick serve, his flat serve.
Yeah. I mean, on the serve, I felt definitely, for example, on the second serve, there was a lot of kick. Like the ball was not just bouncing.
Side,
it was not just bouncing up, where it was going up over my shoulder, but it was actually bouncing up and to the side. So he had this side spin where it actually curved away from me. So as I'm stepping in, the ball's just getting out of my reach every time. And that actually made me realize as well how difficult it would be to break the serve.
Yeah.
Because the first serve obviously has a good fast. He
good
places
pace,
it well. I wouldn't say it's the fastest serve ever.
No.
Like it's a good serve.
Yeah.
But that second serve is
brutal.
So tough to deal with. And I really had to step in and take balls almost like on the rise on the do what he does.
Imagine if you're on clay against that.
It'd be like. And you almost associate someone like Nadal with a kick because you think the spinny kick serves. But there I felt like they were really bouncing up, and it's something that I guess he wins a lot of points on with many other guys,
especially
because
how wide.
Yeah, and then he looks for the next shot, and I mean it'd be really difficult to beat him. And again, I was thinking, how does
Djokovic take this on the rise?
How do people break him?
Yeah.
Like if you've got that serve and you've got the shots, it's how do you? And I guess that's why he was, he's one of the greatest of all time.
So what was it like when he started actually working on the saber attack against you?
Because it was obviously I watched it on TV a lot, and it was something that we even discussed. We did the video about it. And it was like, is he going to do it? Is he going?
We were thinking that before the session. Will he actually work on it?
Yeah,
and I was in the corner filming, and he's like taking it just after the bounce.
And you could see that Edberg, he was telling him, little areas
where
he needs to get to in order to hit that shot. And it was interesting to watch because he had like a set area in his mind where he was thinking, okay, I need to get there before the ball bounces, so then I can take the ball on. It wasn't like I'm just going to take the ball on. It was his movement before the shot to be able to then take the shot, the serve early, and then come forward. And I was actually, when I was serving, I knew he's going to do it. Like I knew that
it's coming.
Yeah. But there was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
Like you get out the serve, and I know it's going to get. I'm like,
before you even land on the serve, it's coming back.
And I was thinking, right, I'm going to get out this serve as quickly as I can, right?
Yeah.
And a few times I did get to it. A few times we did play it out, but when it went a bit away from me and he connected well and it was a good shot, it was unplayable again.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, if he did that a few times in the match,
that throws you off completely.
Yeah, and it made me feel like this. How must it be to
be in a real match situation?
Exactly.
With that,
when it comes to a pressure situation, he throws some of them in. Then it's really tough to deal with. It's actually quite interesting that he didn't do that many of them in the final.
In the final against Djoko, yeah.
And I wonder if that was, part of the reason he didn't get the win.
I just think he wasn't on that day, was he?
Yeah.
He just didn't play great. What about how early he takes the shot on?
His
court position.
Yeah. So every time I was, even though I felt like it was a good shot, like okay, when you really connect, you really feel like, oh, I've connected on this one. This is good. This is good.
This is deep. I noticed a few from the side where because in the days leading up to the session, we actually hit a few balls.
Yeah, so we worked a little bit. We were
hitting some balls, and Alex, when he rips his forehand and he steps through the ball, the way the shot is massive. So when I was hitting with him, I was feeling that, God, this racket's going to fall out of my hand. Now he did that same shot to Fed, and I was noticing that Roger was still around the baseline, taking that on the rise. Now, talk about that.
It felt like it was tough to push him back.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like I
He
could
was
push
giving
him
you any ground.
Yeah, I could push him side to side well.
Yep.
But it was like
He wasn't going back.
No,
he wasn't
like
retreating.
when I hit fast, he was just there and he was hitting that
On the
same
rise.
fast back, and it was like, okay, you know, what do I have to do? And I guess for a player playing against something like that, it would make you force things.
Yeah.
It'd make you go for a little bit more. And I was almost having to tell myself, like, don't
overhit
it. Don't don't fall into the trap of, okay, he's dealing with it. Don't try and go for more.
Yeah.
Of course, you feel tempted, and I did try and go for a few, and it was great. But it was, it's in general, like, to maintain your quality. I think that really pushes you to the limit where you think, can I?
This is intense.
Yeah. Am I? If you think, okay, my rally pace is maybe an 8 out of 10 or 7.5 out of 10. Am I close to that line? Am I edging over it now? Where I'm going to start missing? It always makes you play at that
high level,
at the highest, how you're comfortable with. And it's something I noticed was obviously the amount of balls we'd hit in a minute was
ridiculous.
Was a
high tempo.
So the tempo was,
really
bum,
intense.
the ball was coming back and forth very quickly, so there wasn't much rest.
Time.
There wasn't much time to deal with balls. It was almost like reactions. It was
bam, bam, bam.
And it's good that we actually did the training before that,
Yeah.
and that actually gave me a little bit of comfort because now that I coach more than I play, obviously I don't play. I don't play with these guys every week, and just before that, I was telling Simon how worried I was thinking. I want to make sure that I can still hit it with these guys. So then we went on the court for, a few days in advance, and we practiced just hitting at that pace. And it really gave me a bit of comfort because I felt
I don't know about that pace, but from me, but
it was that pace. Yeah.
If you compare like Federer to the guys you played at challenger level, futures level, even the guys 50, 100 in the world who you've beaten, what are the biggest differences you noticed in the way the shot and just everything about the game?
Yeah, so I felt like he reads the shot a lot quicker. Yeah. So when I hit like a ball slightly wider or it's shorter or
he's on it.
He's straight into it. He's on the ball and he's hitting a good quality shot, which I felt sometimes like I could get away with a little bit more with some of the other guys.
What about movement?
Yeah. Because we did a few drills where I pushed him, side to side, and he was coming back to a corner, and I had to really try and push him
side to side,
to get him moving.
That was the first time I've actually seen him actually bend over. After about 3 or 4 minutes of that, he was actually breathing like this. I was shocked. I've never seen Feds actually like that.
And I thought to myself, okay, so I might be
doing all right.
I'm getting a bit tired. So.
And in terms of the whole game, what was the biggest difference you noticed between like Federer, Berdych, Nishikori, the other guys you trained with during the week?
I thought Federer, for one, was a lot more aggressive in the way he played. He was
closer to the baseline,
taking balls taking the ball on a lot more. And he had that variety that he could also
mix it up.
Yeah, he could take it on, but then he had the slice. He could take it on.
Slices.
Yeah, and he had a few of those kind of things in his pocket that he could just bring out when he needed it. And a few times, even when he came into the net, he instead of just hitting a normal volley, he'd like
the volleys. The things he does with his hands are ridiculous.
Yeah. So when you think a normal player would, because I've hit it quite fast, would just block it back, but he'd actually block it, and he'll do like something with a
side spin and ridiculous talent. And what about the net game when he was working on coming in? What did you feel?
So one is reflexes. I think he was standing. He was getting close into the net quite a lot, wasn't he?
He was moving in.
Yeah,
so he would
start
service line and then flows in.
By the time I've hit it, he'd be at the net, and certainly after 2 or 3 shots, he'd be almost knocking the ball off.
Just coming.
I remember a few times like he got so close, he was actually on top
touching
of
the net,
like this, and I hit the ball one fast, and I nearly hit him.
Blocked it. Yeah.
I nearly hit him. And I was thinking, oh geez, and that wouldn't be good.
That wouldn't be great if I take out Fed before the World Tour finals.
What? I hit
Brian's coach. Took out his ear.
Yeah.
And comparing Federer, Berdych, and Nishikori again, in terms of the weight of shot, the intensity, Federer, the level, where would you say he is compared to the other guys?
Well, I guess
Federer's being, sorry, the best being 10, the lowest being 0. Federer's where?
I mean, it's tough. 9, 10. It's tough to go more than that, you know. And I'd love to. I mean, I haven't trained with Djokovic. We were supposed to train with them in Indian Wells, but it didn't happen. Yeah, it would have been nice to kind of feel what that would be like. Yeah. But for me, I'd struggle to find another level to go above that. It's like what would
how do you get better?
Yeah, you know, he'd have to hit it every shot
that way.
You know, but it almost was every shot.
It was.
You know, so that's the thing. So I think it's quite tough to go higher than that, and it puts in perspective how good these guys are. Because sometimes you train and you play on the challenging futures and an ATP level, and you think, okay, some of these guys they're achievable. You actually can hang with them and you can play with them.
Beat them,
and even against Roger, just hitting and stuff, I thought, I could do this.
Yeah.
Could play. But then when the points come into it, there's that he has that bit of extra
level,
a little level that he just pushes on, and then he switches on the turbo button, and then it's like, okay, see you later, you know. And it's, I guess the top 4, top 5 in the world, they have that
different level.
They have that little button they can press to just step it up and play a little bit better. And you know, for all the juniors out there that are working on their game, I think it's important that you work on your relaxation, like you said. So
being as loose as
having
possible.
a loose arm, I think that gives you power, because it felt like effortless power, easy power. Whenever he went for it, it wasn't like
he wasn't forcing it. It's not like muscling the ball, whereas a lot of the guys do.
Yeah,
and so loose.
It was, and it felt like something that he could maintain. So it's something that he could keep going with that loose arm, because it was loose, because he wasn't forcing it, but the ball was flying fast. So I think that timing, his momentum, so he was always moving into the shot,
body weight going forward.
He was using his all his segments. His movement. So I think a lot of the juniors and certainly the players,
drills.
So you know, getting to the ball before the ball bounces is important. He was always there, wasn't he? He was never like
the split step is just, you see it on TV all the time, but when you're actually watching it live and you're there, he's just never off balance. Never. His balance is ridiculous.
Even when I really got him out wide a few times,
he's still maintaining that balance perfectly.
Getting back. So that getting to the ball and the recovery is also very important. Net game.
Working on the volleys. It's something that most juniors don't work on enough.
Making sure that you have the reflexes and the skills at the net, so it's not just making the volley, but actually maybe doing something
with
a
side spin and moving the ball a bit more.
Just being able to control the ball to a higher degree. And the serve.
The kick serve is a joke.
The kick serve was, it was.
It's almost like when you've been training with a coach and they're hitting serves from the service line. And they're hitting the kick serve at full power. That was like his normal serve. It was over there. It was crazy. Two things I noticed from the side. The biggest things that stood out was his position, always inside the baseline or close to the baseline, and also the variation. So the spin he could do with the top spin and then the flat one. But another big thing that I noticed massively was the fact that his weight of shot. He's always moving forward, he's never going backwards. Those are the 3 things that I noticed really. And also, again, like Alex said, how early he picks up where the ball's going. It's almost like you see the guys junior level, you see the guys almost at the lower professional level, they might start getting ready when the ball's passing the service line on the other side or the net. Whereas Federer, he's seeing it right off your racket. He's like, the ball's just left your racket, he's seeing it. And I think that's something that he trains definitely with drills, and he definitely works on that a lot.
Well, I hope that was an interesting discussion for you guys. We'll definitely try and share more of these insights if we do get to play with others. And
Rafa's next, hopefully. Give us a call, Rafa.
Okay guys, so thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, press the like button, leave a comment underneath, subscribe to us, check out our website and all the social media like Instagram and
Facebook,
Twitter. So hope to see you on there, and look out for more videos.